And good morning. My name's John with the Pine Tree. I have the great pleasure of being here with Phil and Liz Weaver.
Hi.
Thanks for letting me invade your business here this morning.
Thanks for coming. Thank
now,
you.
This hopefully will be our first in a series of what we're going to do on high-tech companies in the Calaveras County area. Because everybody has the stereotypical view of Calaveras County is not real high-tech.
Correct.
That's a good way of putting it.
But I think for a rural county, we actually have a fairly decent proliferation of broadband. I mean, some Comcast with their network and everything else is. I mean, so I think hopefully the goal is to raise awareness of high-tech companies up here, to where if you're down in the Silicon Valley, sitting in a tilt-up in a cubicle, come on up.
Come to Calaveras County.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Well, we're right now inside Shang-Chi Kung Fu, which is our brick and mortar business, which we like to call it. And we've been teaching martial arts for some time as our main profession. So that's where we are today.
Right.
And we've done a number of things in terms of taking that to the web over the last couple of years, just because of the change in the economy, which kind of sprung into some other things which I think we'll talk about today, which is breakpal and side mechanics as well.
Now, on breakpal, now this is an interesting one, to where this has I think a site that has huge potential, because the untapped market on that is virtually limitless, right? Now, tell us a little bit about breakpal, what the site does.
Well, breakpal is a workplace wellness program. It's fitness at your desk. And what happened was we were running the business and found ourselves in the office quite a bit, doing paperwork, taking on employees. And so the space behind us is where we work out, but even though we were only 10 feet from the workout space, we weren't working out, and we were gaining weight, and we had crankiness and sore necks, and the realization hit us that, oh my God, we're turning into unhealthy office people.
Laptop in one hand.
We were still working out, but the stress was building. That's when Phil had the idea of taking it and repackaging what we do and putting it out there for people who really are committed to 8 hours a day at a computer, which is, we do have the luxury of walking away.
Majority.
So fortunately, with the site mechanics and his ability to program, he came up with the idea of taking what we do, which is our martial arts, which is Tai Chi, yoga, and Kung Fu, putting it into small bite-sized pieces. The exercises run from 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes. He did all the stuff that makes it work, but then I do all the exercise. And we took all of those exercises, and you can do them in your chair, or you can do them in about a 3 foot by 3 foot space at your desk. So no one has to leave the cubicle to do it. An automatic timer comes up that you set at 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, and you step away and pick your exercise. And we use it in our offices, and it's fantastic. The feedback's been amazing.
And they're probably the only business in Valley Spring with their own green screen.
We're
not using it today, but they have their own green screen down there. So.
That was the other thing. It's because once you have a great idea, you're like, this is a great idea. I'm going to need to build things in order to make this happen. So we did have one wall in the building that was not decorated, and it did take some convincing. Phil had to convince me to paint it bright green. I was like, no. Okay, paint it bright green. So we do have a giant green screen where we do all the filming now as well.
Yeah, just for the green screen, it basically where that way they can project her onto any background that they choose to, right?
Yeah, the idea with the breakpal is we wanted a plain background, so that eye strain is one of the problems with working in a computer too much. So we wanted a very clean video with a white background, so you could just see the exercise and everything. So that's what we do with that. And it could be any background.
Now, you guys had a few months ago, you had a national magazine reference to Real.
Yes, we did. Real Simple Magazine gave us just a one-liner, and not having any concept of how many people read that magazine. It was amazing. It was great. We came to work and we're like, hey, look at this. People are all over our site.
Now, you guys probably have subscribers or you're getting traffic from. Where's the traffic coming from on that site? All over the place?
All over. Actually, we've done Real Simple still, because what their website is a Web 2.0, and what their articles will randomly go to the front page.
Right.
So occasionally the article that we're in will hit the page for a minute, 2 minutes, and during those 2 minutes, there's huge amounts of traffic that comes through.
We actually have users all over the world. So people are, they're logging on from all sorts of countries and different hours.
Originates in Valley Springs.
In Valley Springs.
Cool.
That's it. We are the home. We are ground zero. We're the central station for BreakPal.
Yeah. We do a lot of web marketing. Search engine optimization is a big one, of course. So getting people through Google is amazing. And social network, being able to, the site is built. The site itself is actually a social network.
Right.
So people, when they exercise, they score points. They can talk to each other in much the way that they would on Facebook, and the site actually integrates with Facebook. So by the fact of it integrating, people can, right from within the site, invite their friends from Facebook to come over, invite it to a fan page. They can tweet that they've exercised, they exercise, they click a button, it goes right onto Twitter. So of course they're actually marketing for us while they work out, which is that's what social networking is about. So it does that.
So they're sweating, paying you to sweat, and
helping
marketing.
Yes, they are a nice bunch. They're a nice bunch.
That's the beauty of it.
This kind of segues into one of your core web development things. I mean, this is pretty cool. Now, I think as technology develops, it allows smaller businesses or anything else to develop sites that 10 years ago would have been millions of dollars to create, literally.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that. Right?
Well, that's the site mechanics. We build websites that are. It started off with the search optimization thing, but then when everything went Web 2.0 and all these capabilities came about, which allowed us to build BreakPal, allowed us to build some other membership sites that we have.
Right.
Then the site mechanics expanded into not just the SEO, but the integration with the social network sites. Because social network sites are big, and you can go out and get 1,000 friends on Facebook, but how you get them from there to your site, how do you monetize that?
Right.
And that is, right now, is just cutting edge. People are really on the edge of figuring that out. And that's kind of one of the things that we specialize in building sites that do that, rather than a static site that's just
exposure
just
for
a
people's
picture.
businesses can be pretty significant.
Very,
because the
very.
amount of time that people now are spending on a social network
Absolutely.
it's almost replacing TV
Yes.
for most.
Right.
It's definitely replacing the news.
Right.
It's definitely replacing traditional.
Don't say that.
Not that kind of news.
No, yours is the one that's.
CNN.
You're going to be good.
Can I say CNN? CNN.
You are the news.
It's replacing
The old
CNN.
news.
The old news. Okay, I'll clarify. Yeah, CNN is on its way out, and Pine Tree.
Oh yeah.
Pine Tree.
No, just kidding. So if a company, let's say, doesn't have much of a web presence or not much of one, how long would it take typically to get them up and running on something?
It depends on the type of company and what. Every company is different, so you're going to look at the strategy for any company differently. One thing that I just kind of realized lately, was a big realization, is that it is making companies more moral. They are because everything's out there.
You can't hide anymore.
You can't hide anything.
Yeah.
So, in some industries, they don't necessarily act in the best interest of their customers now, and that company does not want to be on the web right now.
But you can get them out pretty quickly.
But
Exxon
a small
probably doesn't have a big Facebook
No,
page.
probably
not.
You don't want to be.
Not to demonize that.
So it's actually better for a small company, for a small real estate company or a local business or whatever. So a company like that can be up really quickly, can be integrated with the major social networking sites, and start building a presence. And the real trick now is learning to engage the customer. Instead of talking to them, you talk with them, and that's.
And part of what we do with the site mechanics is teach people how that social networking, that social marketing works. Because we talked earlier about how there is an age cap of people that are just now learning how to work computers and coming into the social networking, and they're afraid of it. And so Phil takes a lot of time to coach whoever hires him and say, okay, this is how you work it, and this is how it's done, and don't be afraid of it. You can't blow it up. And that's important for them to know.
Have you found, and this is one of the things that we found as our sites developed over the years, is not so much this last year, but in the first couple of years we were doing it, lots of times when we were marketing to businesses here locally, it was a little different thing, because a lot of them didn't really realize where the web was going,
Yes.
what the web was capable of doing. Because, as we mentioned before we got started, in the sheer amount of just volume and eyeballs there can be. Because we mentioned like the second day of the night fire, we almost had our first million hit day. For us, would have been a milestone. People they get blown away, but they don't realize is there's 20 million people parked within 15 million people within 3 hours in Northern Indiana that haven't. So there is a large market. There's a bigger market for people to visit or do business in Calaveras County than you might realize.
There is, and that was an obstacle for us when we started. When we started taking our martial arts business online and even explaining to people what breakpal is. They were like, well, no one in Calaveras County, there are no big offices in Calaveras County. I'm like, the internet is there. And it's kind of funny for me to say that, but I'm like, where have you been living? Probably Calaveras County. But yeah, it was funny because they were like, well, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, it's web-based. The web is all over the world. And that was an obstacle for years, and it still is now. But again, with the social networking, it's kind of been broken pretty finally.
There's examples of how a local business can monetize their local customers. That like I love the example of the taco truck in LA.
Yes, the Korean taco truck in LA.
Korean taco truck in LA is perfect. We're trying to get this taco.
We're trying to get Jesse here to go on Twitter.
Korean taco truck tweets where he's going to be at a certain time. The crowd shows up.
So it's like a crowd.
Yes, they're waiting. There's 3,000 people. There's traffic jams. The police come in to do.
Very cool.
So we told Jesse, you need to start tweeting and tell us when you're leaving, so we all know when to meet at the taco truck. So because every once in a while he doesn't make it on time and everybody goes somewhere else. But if he knew he was coming, we'd stay.
That's illustrative in the fact that yes, we still live in a brick and mortar world, like but more and more our transactions are just information based in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
It's I guess that's as much a way as information based as much as anything else.
Right.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
And the people have a desire to connect.
Right.
And if you can get into that area where they want to connect, then
and comment on stuff.
Give their opinions. Everybody likes to give their opinion.
Well, very cool. So, like for breakpal, I was fascinated by it. It's like this is a great thing. Calaveras County basic. What your target market is? What the 2 billion people
that are on a computer.
Yeah, anyone who sits at a computer.
Roughly. That's
about 2 billion.
That's a small market. That's
for large companies that are trying to reduce their healthcare costs.
Now, what you offer is like a company-wide or site-wide. So basically,
we do special deals for nonprofits for like hospitals or colleges, and then company-wide deals for large corporations, even small businesses, even if you have 10 employees.
Right.
It's just we're more interested in getting it out there and making it work. And that's what we do.
You should give like a subscription to like a local board of supervisors. So if they're in like a 6-hour meeting,
what a great idea! Because there is a chance that if some of the supervisors check their email from a while back, their accounts were already set up.
So that way they could use them. Tokenelli,
And Thomas.
Okay, all right. So that way they could actually be breakpaling while they're.
We did discuss that with them, and I think they've been avoiding me at Rotary since then.
Very nice.
They're so busted now.
What we wanted was a test group.
Right.
We wanted our first kind of corporate or summer group to test it. So we went and offered it. But we do have a couple hospitals that sort of doing this test group right now. So they're in the East Coast somewhere. I don't even remember where.
They're back east, so Calaveras missed out.
They
can do it as well, yes. But they won't be first. But we do have some large companies that are testing out for us.
The concept of working out at work actually I think was started by Zig Ziglar. Remember that name?
I am.
Zig Ziglar, and I don't know what he's 90 years old.
I don't know.
Like now, but in his early days, he started teaching his salesmen that 5 minutes of work gives you 15 minutes of productivity. So if you even if you take 5 minutes out of your day and exercise, at the end of the day you get 15 minutes more work done. And he had been stressing that throughout, and that's what breakpal does. Is that it does not take away from work. There's companies that are using programs such as that, such as the whole country of Japan.
Right.
They brought themselves back from World War II and their Great Depression by getting their employees working, just working out at work, keeping them energized all the time. And that was one of the major things that brought that country back.
And some of the cultures are even like have nap time.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, so
We have nap time here at Change.
yeah, there we go. So that
And that allows me to work a lot. Yeah, but it's interesting. We've had some major healthcare providers try it out that have just cubicles and cubicles of people processing medical information. And even the response we get from them is, well, people are kind of looking at me funny. I'm like, what do you do for a living? You know, it's
well, that's changing.
just get up and work out. It's been changing, but it has been a struggle.
Yeah.
That the concept of what do people think of me is really the hardest breakthrough.
They get over
really
it
the hardest
faster now.
breakthrough. Yeah.
Because
Because now I just flat out tell them, if you want to get fat and have a stroke, that's your problem. But I'm giving you an opportunity to be the most productive and healthiest you can
but
be.
they could be on a conference call and doing leg lifts.
Yeah, anything, just anything besides
Yeah.
nodding off, you
Right.
know. And so, but there is a shift in mentality in that we have seen over the last couple of years. But it's been an uphill battle.
well, it's been a big shift because the version breakpal 1, which we put out in 06, I would say that probably 70 to 80% of people, return the product and said, I can't do this at work.
Right.
And now it's maybe 1 out of 100.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it is a big shift.
So it's a huge shift.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So all of our barriers have fallen about not privacy, but people, because we're kind of a public society. More
Right.
Or less.
Right.
Now we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been good.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, thank you.
Thanks for
you.
coming down.
I think, and want to applaud what you're doing. I think it's, and especially here in Calaveras County, it's very cool. And maybe you land, that 2 billion target
We
market.
will. That's our goal.
That's the goal.
Thank you.
Thanks.